We are staying with the developing story about the appointment by President Bola Tinubu of Justice Kudirat Kekere-Ekun as the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. And joining us is a lawyer, GT Ogunye. Good to have you join us, Mr. Ogunye. 10 years after the retirement of the first female CJN, now we have another woman being sworn in acting capacity. What should Justice Kudirat Kekere-Ekun prioritize towards reforming the nation's judiciary?
Now, first, let's congratulate Honorable Justice Kudirat Kekere-Ekun on the attainment of the enviable and very significant position of an acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. We understand that he's been nominated to attain the position of a substantive CJN, but that will be subject to the confirmation of the Senate. Now, Section 231, subsection 3 and 4, particularly for requires that if that position is vacant and Honorable Justice Adewale has just retired CJN, and the most senior Justice of the Supreme Court will fill that position in an acting capacity. And it's in fulfillment of that constitutional requirement that Justice Kekere-Ekun has been sworn in today. Justice Kekere-Ekun is coming to the judiciary at a time when a lot needs to be done. There have been a number of initiatives by the current administration regarding adjustment of the salary and emolument of judicial officers, and also the increase in the retirement age of justices of the High Court from 65 to 70, so that at the High Court, Court of Appeal and Supreme Court, you now have an equilibrium of the retirement age. But more than that, he's coming into the judiciary at a time when the judiciary suffers from a crisis of confidence. Not because judicial officers are not doing their best, but because of a combination of factors. First, inconsistency in precedents, and then, cynicism by a great number of the members of the public. And there have been certain development in the judiciary that have become very worrisome. For example, seeming cronyism and nepotism in the appointment of judicial officers. I saw that in Queen's succession, we're now having retiring jurists having their biological children attaining positions in the judiciary through the National Judicial Service Commission, Federal Judicial Service Commission, that makes the recommendation at the NJC eventually. Of course, there is nothing in the rules and regulations and the Constitution that disallows biological children or relatives of prominent judicial officers from taking the bench, from being appointed judicial officers. But if you look critically at the Code of Judicial Conduct, in terms of relatives and all that, a judge is forbidden, for example, from assuming jurisdiction to determine a matter that is connected to any of the relatives and all that. And if that's good law and good reason, my submission is that that will also be good reason to prevent jurists from using their position, leveraging on that position to get their friends, their associates, their biological children to occupy positions in the judiciary. So that now talking about dynasty, possibility of dynasty in judicial appointments. So there have been a lot of this problem. And I think that Justice Kekere-Ekun has the job cut out for her. We'll expect His Lordship to lead the charge in dealing with all these issues, so that ethically the Supreme Court will continue to be the bulwark in the defense of the rule of law and ensuring that all is equal before the law and that there is justice in the land. The judiciary, Supreme Court, is very significant because it's at the apex of the third arm of government. And, we expect a number of reforms as quickly as possible to complement the emolument reform that has been made and to complement the increase in the number of years a judge may spend on the bench, which is also a significant reform that has been made.
All right, Mr.
We can't, use this brief intervention to list all these issues, but these issues are substantive and they belong, including the issue of delay and congestion at the Supreme Court and the possibility of reforming the judiciary in order that you have a more federalized judiciary,
so
regional Supreme Court to take ordinary cases and all that. These are all the issues in a basket that can be dealt with by the Chief Justice by inspiring significant reforms.
All right, Mr. Ogunye. And, just a while ago, you mentioned the fact that this is, in acting capacity, which is the truth, and it will be subject to confirmation by the Senate, for confirmation. How long do you expect that to last?
I expect that it will be swift. Let me hazard a guess. And why do I say this? If you look at, and this is not just giving a pass marker. No, if you look at it, since the advent of the Bola Tinubu administration, there has been a significant shift in the liturgy that we witnessed with the Buhari administration, particularly regarding appointment of judicial officers. In the past administration, the country will have to intervene. There will be public outcry. There will be appeal before the president will move, so that there were problems with even the full complement of the Supreme Court. But now, with this administration, for the first time, we now have a full complement of the number of justices appointed to the Supreme Court, so that we now have 21. That is allowed by the Constitution. So, in tandem with that discernible, that palpable swiftness, I expect that everything will be done to send the documents, the nomination to the Senate for confirmation. Indeed, I would have wished that that confirmation hearing took place before you have this acting appointment, so that we don't have to be having recourse to acting appointment at the bench before we make it substantive because of the implications. So I expect it to be swift.
All right, Mr. Ogunye. Thank you very much for sharing your perspective with us on this issue. Lawyer GT Ogunye, yes. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's move on from there, turning attention to Akwa Ibom State, where fresh oil spills have been discovered in over 27 coastal communities. The Youth Council representative says the devastation, which was noticed on the 15th of August, affected communities across Ibeno, Esit, Eket, and Ona. Miriam Daniels reports.
The major occupation of these riverine communities is fishing and farming. They depend heavily on the water bodies. But today, they are lamenting the loss of their major source of livelihood following a recent oil spill in the area.
Oil, like the other day, they pick fish here on top of the water. It is dead ones. The oil, when the fish tests the oil, it will kill the fish.
They demand an immediate cleanup of the environment and restoration of their livelihoods.
And what the law stated is that if there is a spill in any environment, that you have an IOC operating in that environment, the nearest IOC should take charge of the cleanup.
This is not only affecting Ibano as a community, it's affecting the nation at large, because the fishing gears have been damaged due to the oil spillage. the impact on the environment. Even agriculture cannot go well.
You are not creating employment. You are not helping the youths. There's no empowerment. There's no scholarship. There's nothing.
The youths who had stormed the premises of ExxonMobil sustained the protest, beating drums, dancing throughout the day, and chanting solidarity songs. This is not the first time the youths of the area would protest against the company for oil pollution in the community. Meanwhile, ExxonMobil, in an email response to TVC News reporter through its regional communications manager, Mr. Ugochukwu Udiaga, denied the allegations. He says ExxonMobil is not the only operator there, and the company did not release any oil from their facilities, as preliminary investigation by the government agency confirmed his position, and that ExxonMobil places high premium on the protection of the communities they operate in.
Oil spillage is not uncommon in oil-producing communities in the Niger Delta region. Its negative impact cuts across health, agriculture, the environment, even education. It is hoped that the expected cleanup happens in the soonest time possible so that residents can return to their livelihoods. Miriam Daniels, TVC News, Ibono, Akwa Ibom State.